Good evening. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that this beautiful land on which we're gathered is the traditional and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Epigwe, which is the Mi'kmaq name for Prince Edward Island, makes up part of Mi'kma'ki, which is the eastern region of Canada. Here in particular in Georgetown, the Mi'kmaq name for the area is Samcook, which means the place where we land. And we're all so grateful to have landed in this place, and we wish to pay honor to all elders past and present who have stewarded this land for over 12,000 years. At an event like this, of course, as we look to our future leaders, it's important that they acknowledge the importance of the land, and so we hope to see some of those that caretaking come through in the questions and the answers around the environment, and also just how they intend to care for our district here in District 2. We're grateful for everyone joining us this evening, both here in person. Thank you so much for making the trek on this rainy, blustery November evening, and also to everyone online. This evening's event is being live streamed. It's important to engage in a democratic process here in Prince Edward Island, and I'm pleased to welcome you to this candidates forum ahead of the District 2 by-election. My name is Haley Zavo, and I will be your moderator for this evening. I'd also like to welcome you on behalf of the Eastern Graphic, who are the major sponsor for tonight's event, and from the Kings Playhouse as well. First, it is important to us that respect, fairness, and transparency are values seated at the front of this event. Decisions on the order of candidates speaking this evening has been decided by random draw, and we ask you to refrain from any disruptive behavior to ensure mutual respect for other attendees and the candidates. Our forum this evening is following the Leaders Debates Commission recommendations with a question and rebuttal format. To begin, each candidate will be given a maximum of 3 minutes to outline themselves and their platform. We will then move into question period, where each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to each question uninterrupted, followed by 3 minutes of group rebuttal time. When times are at the 1 minute mark, our timekeepers, who are here in the front, will hold up a yellow card for the candidate and the audience to see. When 3 minutes have been reached, the timekeeper will hold up a red card, signaling the moderator to end the discussion. Tonight we will be asking between 8 and 12 questions, depending on the time, and many of the questions were posed by members of the public. They will cover the following themes: housing supply, affordability, and seniors' equity, healthcare access and rural service gaps, amalgamation, land, mental health, addiction, homelessness, community, economic development, arts and culture, environment, and education. As was noted in the event details online, there will be no questions from the floor. We encourage candidates to share their preferred contact information and hope you will engage with them on issues that matter most to you in the coming days. Once the question period has ended, candidates will be given an uninterrupted 3 minutes for the closing comments of their choice. Welcome, candidates. The results of the draw for our order this evening will be Robert Mitchell, Brendan Curran, Eddie Childs, and Kevin Traynor. Therefore, we will begin with an opening statement from Robert Mitchell.
I'm proud to be running. This district represents the very best of who we are as Islanders, hardworking people drive our primary industries, caring neighbors, give their time and energy, make their community. I come from a big family with humble beginnings in Fort Augustus, taught me the teamwork, building trust, always following through on your work. I grew up and lived 35 years close to this part of the province, and I continue to stay close to the area with my involvement in sports when I cheer on my grandkids in Pownal, Georgetown, or Montague. I also have over a decade of experience in government, leading Islanders through difficult times, and there's no question in my mind that these are challenging times for our province and our country. Dealing with issues like threats of tariffs on our exports, the devastation of diseases like MSX and Dermo on our oyster stocks, and the impact of potato wart on our agriculture industry requires someone who is willing to listen and act, not bury their head in the sand and skirt accountability. Many of the concerns that you have been sharing with me at the doors have been concerns that I have been hearing from Islanders across this province since I started having conversations at coffee shops and kitchen tables earlier this year while I campaigned to be the leader of the Liberal Party. Across Prince Edward Island, people are tired of hearing the same excuses for the inaction on some of our most pressing issues: timely health care, cost of living, and safety in our schools. As the cost of living continues to climb and this government continues to defend spending millions on NHL sponsorship, millions on the front lines of healthcare, but not on the front lines. Islanders are worried about having to choose turning on the heat and putting food on the table. Concerned about their family members not being able to receive health care services they need, a health system that is struggling to attract and retain frontline workers. My experience and knowledge of the bureaucracy means I can hit the ground running, tackle these issues, and better for Islanders. People of Georgetown-Pownal and all Islanders deserve a strong opposition leader in the legislature who isn't afraid to stand up and demand better on their behalf. I know from experience that government works better when it faces a strong opposition. If I'm lucky enough to earn your vote as your MLA, I commit to being a strong voice for the people of District 2 and for all Islanders. And I will demand the accountability. I believe it's high time for another permanent leader in the legislature.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Brendan Curran.
Good evening. Thank you to all in attendance, and thank you to my fellow candidates for. I'm on the stage tonight because I believe District 2 deserves a strong local voice that delivers results, people, and fights for its. This district is where I grew up, where I learned the value of hard work, community, and pride in where you come from. Georgetown-Pownal has always been a place where people roll up their sleeves, get things done, and look out for their neighbors. The residents of this district deserve a representative who brings that same attitude to work every single day. Someone who delivers results, speaks up for our communities, and ensures our voice is heard loud and clear in Charlottetown. That's the spirit I bring to this debate tonight, and the spirit I will bring if I'm elected to. Over the past decade, we've seen real progress in our communities, including the Clean Tech Academy in Georgetown, the new Zamboni and boards in the Three Rivers Sportsplex, safer roads, expanded walking and biking trails in Cardigan, and a new school coming to the community of Georgetown. Construction on the new KCMH will also start this spring. These achievements didn't happen by mistake. They happened because people collaborated and acted. I recognize lots of. I've spoken with hundreds of residents on doorsteps, kitchen tables, barns, and garages, and the message is clear. You want action on the issues that matter most: the cost of living, access to health care, a strong local voice, and an infrastructure to meet our growing needs as communities. That's why we're here tonight, to share our ideas, debate our differences, and show you who is ready to be your voice in Charlottetown. This election is about the people of District 2 and delivering real results for Georgetown-Pownal. For me, it comes down to this. This job isn't about headlines, it's about hard work and following through. This district has given me every opportunity I've had in life, and now it's my turn to get back. So tonight, I'm asking for your confidence, not just to represent you, but to fight for you and to deliver results for you. Together, we can build on our successes, chart our own future, and get things done for Georgetown-Pownal. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear opening remarks from Eddie Childs.
I want to start off by thanking everyone who's taking the time to watch this forum online, as well as Graphic and Haley for having this event, Kings Playhouse, and the community of Georgetown for having us. As Haley said, my name is Eddie, and I am your Green Party candidate here in District 2. I couldn't be more excited to be out in the community and meeting so many neighbors. I live in Primrose, and from there I've worked as a public servant, assisting people with their drinking water quality, whether it be bacteria or chemistry or whatever it might be. The reason I get out and get out of bed every day is to go and help my community. I'm running to represent the district here and the community, because I hear from so many folks that they feel like they don't have a voice, haven't had a voice for a long time. I think the Greens have shown that we're a strong opposition party, and Matt, our leader, has demonstrated that we're listening to Islanders and working hard for them. I'm proud that leading on issues of importance such as land and affordability, and just generally I'm very proud of the work that the Greens have done over the last number of years. Now, I do hear from folks, some people say people aren't willing to work hard anymore. And I'm really happy to say that I'm not shy of some hard work. Through the pandemic, I took up a factory job, proudly making your tissue boxes day in and day out. Whether it be days or nights, I have a sense of just how hard people have to work to make ends meet. I've been at the grocery store. There have been times where I've looked at the 25-cent pack of noodles and the 35-cent pack of noodles, and I've picked the 25-cent pack. I'm glad that I've been able to work myself out of that, and now I'm in a position where I can stand up for my community and offer to be a stronger voice for my neighbors. 2 out of 3 Greens in the legislature today are from rural districts, and I think we need a third. I think the community is looking for a change, and when we are faced with a decision between the past, the present, and the future, I sincerely hope that you can join me in working towards a more just future for Prince Edward Island, for our neighbors, and for our community here in District 2. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear opening remarks from Kevin Traynor.
Very much, everybody. I'd like to thank Madam Moderator, my opponents, and the ladies and gentlemen of the audience and out there as well. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. You guys might not know me, but my name is Kevin Traynor, and I worked in a nursing home for 38 years. So I personally know what seniors' issues are, and I know what it's like to stick around. I also was 25 years on the executive of the local, and so I know what it's like to fight for those people that are marginalized, people that couldn't defend themselves, people didn't have the ways and the means of defending themselves. And I can assure you that when I get to the legislature, I will be a very strong voice to defend both the seniors and those that can't defend themselves. I want to come today because I want to defend the seniors. I want to see seniors stay home. They want to stay home. They don't want to go to a nursing home. And sometimes the amount of help they need is so small, it's ridiculous, but they need that. They need nurses. Sometimes it's only a matter of a few hours a week. So we need to get more nurses on the ground, more LPNs on the ground. And support. I also, as far as the environment's concerned, the water, so important. Doug Jenkins and his wife, those people live across the street from a dump. For 25 years, the government of the day, sorry, both liberals and the conservatives have done nothing. So him and 10 of his fellow neighbors no water to drink. So I want to get into the legislature and correct that. That problem should have been corrected a long time ago. I want to be able to be a voice for those that are in the that don't have a voice. I think I can be a great voice. People have often heard it said that Canada and Prince Edward Island need a new democratic voice. I want to be that voice. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you to all candidates. We'll now move on to the question period portion of this evening. And just as a reminder, there will be an initial question with time for one candidate to answer, and then there will be time for rebuttal by all candidates. Our first question this evening is for Robert Mitchell, and it pertains to economic development. Georgetown Shipyard has sat mothballed for more than a decade. Structure requires significant capital improvements. Will you champion reopening the yard? And if so, for what purpose?
That is certainly a question that one of the most questions I heard as I campaigned through the steps of Georgia. Obviously, that building has been important to the economic development of this area. And it is sad for the residents of Georgetown to see it sitting there vacant. Currently, I am in discussions with our federal MP on something that's in the works to come into that building. I also had a conversation with a local person that is also involved in the same industry, and it's hoped that it can be started up and brought to Georgetown from another area of Prince Edward Island where it is today, and create a number of jobs and bring economic viability back to the downtown Georgetown area. I think the residents of the area will greet it with open arms, and it will be something that will be a legacy for a long time in a reopening. It'll take some money. I know it will take some hard work, and I'm willing to work with the federal government, the local municipality, and the province. Something true for that. There's been a lot of people that have offered me suggestions, like a lobster holding tank, and other things that maybe it can be twofold. Maybe it can be threefold. The business that can go in there. The major driver is that it brings economic prosperity to Georgetown, which is much needed. Great jobs to Georgetown, which is also much needed. Thank you.
And so we'll open the floor for any debate.
So, Georgetown Shipyard, the East Isle Shipyard property, is a true gem for the entire district and the entire eastern region of the province. And it's a site with great potential to be a true economic driver. And for so long, the East Isle Shipyard just down the street kept the lights on for so many families across the area, and mine included. So I do have to agree with Robert that it is a real economic driver, and it's the potential is quite amazing of what can actually happen there. But it really is going to take true vision, and it's going to take a strong local voice that understands what that property truly means to the area, and I think I am that person.
I think that you have to start off with baby steps. If you're going to make Georgetown grow, you got to start with small, medium-sized enterprise. And I think if they're encouraged and asked, encouraged, and have basic guaranteed income so that they can support themselves, I think this building can be viable. I think Georgetown is the same. Obviously, Georgetown is doing well because of the people that live here. So if you have the people that live here, if they open up small and medium-sized enterprise in that building, I think the building can grow. But it has to start with baby steps. You have to start somewhere, because for many, many years, it'd be a good idea. Oh, maybe we will. Well, I think it's time to put feet to the ground, start off small with small and medium-sized enterprise, and then that'll grow. Thank you very much.
I'd like to agree with Kevin down at the end of the table in that, we do need some baby steps, I think, to get there and support a project of that scope. When I go to the doors and talk to people, they're looking for tools that help them work. They're looking for more childcare options in the community. I hear folks talking about the need for gas services and other auxiliary businesses bring up, and although a working shipyard is an exciting project and one that I'd love to see come to fruition, I think we need to take some smaller steps to help get us there and continue to develop the community into something that can support a shipyard and support the workers who are going to occupy it.
Thank you. Our next question starts with Brendan Curran. District 2 faces a shortage of affordable and supportive housing, yet many seniors here rely on the equity in their homes, often their only retirement asset, and fear that more affordable housing could depress property values. What specific policies will you champion to expand affordable housing in this district, while also protecting the financial security of seniors who need to sell their homes at a fair, sustainable price to fund their retirement years?
Thank you, Haley. So I do believe that there has been strong progress made of the housing. I think, housing starts are growing, or they're at a record. I do believe allow housing to be affordable. We need to ensure that the supply of housing is at a level. Supply and demand market. A lot of instances, and we've seen that through from 2019 on, when we had a flux of people come and settle in our province, and we just didn't have quite the housing to do so. Our senior population has worked their entire life to build our province, to where it is today, and I really believe that we need to ensure that seniors are able to live in their own home as long as possible. But at the same time, like you said, they really need to be able to sell their property at a market that's going to fund their retirement. So, we need to ensure that our seniors are able to do so, and building strong, safe communities around them will also help in doing that.
Well, I'd just like to say, I think affordable housing, we have a housing crisis. We have so many people who are fighting hard to keep their home or fighting hard to find a home, and affordable housing is economic growth. And economic growth is what's going to support property prices in the community for the long term. Build affordable houses, you're supporting workers, you're supporting families, and you're supporting the local economy, which is going to, support that home value over the long term. So, another element of this too is affordable housing encompasses a lot more than detached single-family dwellings. We can build affordable apartment complexes which enable people in the community to build themselves up to the point where they will be able to purchase a home one day, but sometimes it takes a couple of years. So there's affordable housing options that we can look at, and cooperative housing, which I feel like gets talked about a little bit more in larger communities. But, Georgetown and other parts of the district can also develop cooperative housing models to better support families and continue the growth of the community.
Thank you, Haley. I too agree that there needs to be a balance between those that are wanting to sell. Allow young families to make those purchases. Obviously, cost of living makes that difficult for younger families to get started. So that's something that we have to look at. But just today, I spoke with a developer not far from here who has I'll say a medium to large size project in mind. But one thing that was on his mind was red tape, issues that he has to struggle through and fight through nearly on a daily basis to get his foundations in the ground and the walls go up. And he's, but he's not giving up. He's forging ahead. He's hoping that he can find new solutions to the red tape. But one of his requests was, can you do anything about that issue? And I committed to him then, and I'll commit to the crowd tonight. I will look into those, see what areas we can make it easier for developers.
I've had a little bit of a different skew on the doors. I've talked to a lot of seniors, and I know seniors. I've spent my lifetime with seniors. Seniors don't want to go to nursing homes. They don't want to go apartments in town. They want to stay home. And really and truly, they've spent many, many years here paying taxes. They've been the backbone of this community for years. And I think that a lot of people want to stay home. And in order for them to be able to stay home, they need help. They need nurses and et cetera. And I've said it before. They just need help. And as far as affordable housing is concerned, you have to look at how...
Sorry. I'm still just going to get used to how things get cut off too. My apologies, Kevin.
That's all right.
Our next question is for Eddie Childs. Do you agree with the provincial government's directive for IRAC to investigate Buddhist land holdings? If so, why? And if not, what concrete action will you take if elected?
Support the directive of investigating these land holdings. It's something you hear about at almost every other door. It's been a concern for the community for years now. And you know, like I said off the top, this is one of the issues where people feel like they haven't been heard. Neighbors haven't been heard elsewhere in the province. You know, land continues to be purchased, and I do support an investigation. More importantly, though, you know, I'm supportive of the work that the Greens have been doing in the legislature recently, and I'm proud that Matt passed his bill. So when there is an investigation, that report is actually going to be made public. You know, this unfortunate circumstance, I guess I'll put it, with the 2018 land report that for a long time we thought existed. Greens fought hard in committee to have that subpoenaed, and then it came out to the community that that report never existed in the first place. So like the rest of the Greens, I'm fighting for accountability. I'm fighting for more transparency in government. We need to get answers to these questions, and I'm very proud that our party's been working in the community to listen to residents. There's a huge town hall just out of the district in Montague a few weeks ago. I would imagine some of you were probably there. But I want to join in with Matt in the work that he's been doing and fight for more accountability.
Kevin?
Yeah, I also agree that it has to be accountability at least. But the people of Georgetown and the people in District 2, they want answers. So it's good to bat it around, but we do need answers to these questions. And right now, as I understand it, it is in the hands of the federal government. That's where it should be. Thank you.
Robert?
Thank you, Haley. And I do also support a inquiry. I've been on record as saying an open public federal inquiry is what's needed in this case. Obviously, IRAC has been asked to look into that situation, and I kind of feel that maybe IRAC is reaching a point in time where maybe they don't have the correct or the right resource or abilities to do all the roles that government and public have tasked upon them, whether it's electric prices or oil prices or land transactions. So I think, you know, maybe that's something that we need to do there, is to look at IRAC to say, do you have enough resources to do this? I know they kind of have their own parameters that they work into, but I think in order to get to the whole understanding of what's going on, we do need to have an open public federal inquiry so that it is number one, public, that islanders can see what's it about, what's happening, rather than the investigation through the RCMP today. We're not sure that that's going to be public. We're not sure that it's going to be released. We're just not exactly sure where that will end. So I'm committed to do work on that, and I think not only islanders want to see it, but the community itself would like to see an investigation done. So that's a public commitment I made, and I stand by that tonight.
So we've all been knocking on doors for a number of weeks. As Eddie mentioned, pretty near every second door is somebody who is concerned with the use of planning for all of our lands here on people. And I do have to, we need to understand exactly what our land is being used for, because we are an island. We're actually losing more than we ever had. So I do believe that there has to be some transparency into the use of land and the sale of land across the province. And I also, I do have to agree that I think IRAC itself needs to be overhauled and needs to have another look on how and how it is used to look at the transactions of land. IRAC was a entity brought in 30 plus years ago, and governance and our islanders and the use and everything has changed greatly since then.
Thank you. Our next question for Kevin Trainer. Has Three Rivers amalgamation worked? If not, what will you do to improve the regional government? Do you see more areas of this district being amalgamated?
Well, this is certainly an issue that I've been asked about at the door. The thing about amalgamation, it has to work for everybody. And I don't feel that the people up and launching, just as an example, are getting bang for their buck. The truth of the matter is, the people that I've talked to in the country feel, how are we possibly part of a tighter community like Georgetown or Montague or wherever? And they weren't asked. They don't feel like they were brought into the discussion about it. And I think if you're going to do an amalgamation, make sure that the people that are in the country are asked or brought into this discussion, because they feel that it's a tax grab. That's what they feel, and that's exactly what I've been told at the door. So I think it should be an open, long discussion before you start bringing everybody into a community. Thank you.
Robert?
Thank you, Haley. Well, folks, as Minister of Communities and Land at the day when amalgamation was first being discussed in various areas of Prince Edward Island, including this area down here in Kings County, there was a pot of money, I suppose you could say, that was available for communities all across Prince Edward Island to look and do studies to see viability of communities coming together and survival of those communities moving forward. As Minister of the Day, I made it quite clear that I would not be forcing any amalgamation on any communities anywhere in Prince Edward Island. That was my words then. It's my words today. We had open dialogue between many communities in this area: Montague, Georgetown, Cardigan, other various unincorporated areas, and the discussion was, it was based on a tax structure where if you receive services, your tax would reflect that, and if you didn't, your tax would also reflect reduction of services as opposed to the core of the area. I know it's still a contentious issue. I hear it at the door. I hear it daily at the door in this region. But I did, had some conversations with those on council who indicate to me, Robert, I was against it at the time, but it's really made such a difference. And I'll use the Georgetown area. Now have services and programs in place that they would never have been able to community. So I guess there's good things and there's bad things. And What I did today was that I would not be forcing it. I did not force it. I was removed from that portfolio into health January of 2018, and I guess after that, maybe things did not go as planned or the way I had them planned.
Then?
Thank you. So traveling and growing up in the district, each community within the district has, the citizens within it have a great pride in their community. And ultimately, the reason why amalgamation doesn't seem to be working, if you talk to the people that in every single house, it's because their voice wasn't heard. They voted on it, and they said no. I don't, and the people within the communities across Three Rivers that are seeing service or were promised some of these services ultimately are not receiving them. I do not see any sidewalks in launching. I don't. If somebody needs a street light in launching, they have to fight tooth and nail. It's just not fair. And ultimately, I believe that is not why it has worked. People didn't receive. Their voice wasn't heard. They voted upon it, and it still happened. And that's just not fair. Ultimately, amalgamation doesn't work unless people are the ones who start it. Thank you.
Eddie?
Yeah, I think this is a big part of the reason why folks in our area feel like they haven't been listened to for a while. They feel like they weren't listened to in amalgamation. And, in certain parts of the district, there's concerns that this kind of action could come down on them when they really don't want it. I talked to folks in Pownal who are worried about it all over the place. That power to put municipalities into a larger rural municipality still exists. Some folks might have promised that it wouldn't be put down on people, and others have promised that the act would be amended. And certainly I'm committed, and I know the Greens are committed to finally amending the Municipal Government Act so this can't come down on any other part of our district.
We'll return to Robert Mitchell. Our next question is, what specific investments and policies will you pursue to address the growing mental health, addiction, and homelessness issue in District 2?
Haley, going door to door, I have encountered families who are dealing with other family members with situations. It's very difficult to go through, and former Minister of Health, I was proud of the fact that we began work on the mental health campus, and I know there is a different way or different resources to help folks out there today. It's our mental health campus itself, or our various public places where people can go to get support 24/7. Those were things that I think are being well received. But overall, I think people need much more resource. I think we need our frontline staff has to be strengthened in order to help people when they appear having mental health situations that are occurring. We need to be able to deal with folks at that moment, at that time, and not turn them to go back home.
Eddie?
There's a lot in that question, and there's a lot of services that need to be delivered or better delivered to the community here. First and foremost, we need better shelter services in Kings County. We can't pretend that homelessness is an issue just for Summerside and Charlottetown or other parts of the island. There are folks suffering with that down here who are spending cold nights in the car, and they need better help. And I think as a community, we can do better for them. As far as addiction goes, I think a lot of us know someone personally who struggles with this, and I was frustrated by the announcement over the new treatment facility. We need to increase the number of detox beds. There's a strong need in this community and across Prince Edward Island for people to have strong care and help getting away from drugs and alcohol. It's no secret that we have, this issue manifests in all sorts of ways. It impacts the health of the individual, but also the family and the community when we see issues related to drinking and driving. So we need to increase these services, increase the number of beds that are available for folks.
Kevin?
I'm pretty strong into this issue because, like every family, and I believe it's every family in Prince Edward Island, you either know somebody or you have somebody in your family with mental health issues, addictions, drug addictions, alcohol especially. And these people need help. And I know personally I've driven people to Mount Herbert to, so that they can get help and been turned away. So this can't be allowed to happen. Because when people want help, they don't want help tomorrow. They don't want help the next day. Sometimes it takes all of the strength in their whole body to be able to say, I'll take that help right now. So it wouldn't be a good idea. We need more beds. We need to open up more communities, not just, like you said, not just Charlottetown or Summerside, places like Montague, places in the country. People don't want to go to Charlottetown. They need help now. And sometimes the stress of not having enough money is the tipping point. So if we had in Prince Edward Island, which is being looked at, and I sincerely hope that it's looked at hard, basic income guarantee can take maybe the stress off of people that are having mental health issues. So if those people had enough money to live, maybe they can get help. Thank you very much.
Ultimately, people who are mental health challenges and addictions challenges, ultimately we need to be able to be there as a community to support them through their journeys to success in sobriety and also in their mental health journey. I do think that the new camp, the mental health and addictions campus in Charlottetown, that will address some of those issues. And I understand that the system isn't perfect, but we have to do everything we possibly can to ensure that those people that are in those situations are supported and the system is there for them. And I do think there has been some progress made over the last decade, but there is always more that needs to be. And we need to be there as a community to support those that need the help.
Our next question follows along the line of healthcare access and rural service gaps. It's for Brendan. What services should be included in the new Kings County Memorial Hospital? And how will you ensure initial plans are not scaled back if it is not built on time and on budget?
Well, my mother spent 25 years working in the old Kings County Memorial Hospital. So we need to ensure that the new facility is built quickly and built properly. But however, we also need to ensure that it is staffed in a way that meets the healthcare needs and challenges of all of our entire community and Kings County as a whole. I am going to be, if I am lucky enough to represent the people of District 2, the thorn in the side of every person that is in the planning teams or the political teams to make sure that the Kings County Memorial Hospital is built quickly and is built properly to serve all Islanders and Islanders in our area. The services that we have seen service gaps when it comes to personnel, and largely because of the conditions of the former hospital at the end of the day. If you're an individual coming out of school, why would you want to work in the old KCMH? Because at the end of the day, it's beyond disrepair, and it should have been probably replaced 20 years ago. So I think we need to ensure that we have a system that works for our area, and it is staffed in a way that meets the healthcare needs of everybody in the district and across Kings County.
Robert?
Thank you, Haley. And I do also believe that it's time that the Kings County Memorial Hospital was upgraded in a new and modern facility. The one thing that I hear when I knock on doors of anybody that's working in the health system, any frontline staff member says to me, the environment when you go to work in our healthcare system, the environment for them is a toxic environment. They don't feel respected. They don't feel valued. Have lots of issues that are going on, abuse issues, from patients that are not being dealt with. So the frontline staff are not happy with what they currently are working on. And, obviously PEI is we're of a size that we should have the best healthcare system in the world. Now, bricks and mortar are a huge important part of that, absolutely. So, but we have to make it the best working environment we can so that staff want to come there. New modern facility will aid that. Working with new technologies, with new equipment, will certainly help the morale of the people, but there are other issues that we have to clean up as well first. In the new hospital, it should have every service that meets the needs of people in Kings County. And I'm not a professional expert in that area, but I will work hard to make sure that all the medical needs of people in Kings County are met, that, and especially here in District 2.
Eddie?
Well, I'm certainly excited that a new hospital is going to be constructed here in the district. We all know, we don't dispute it's needed, but what concerns me is that we're not talking about the staff and services that exist there today as much as we're looking to the future and sort of pinning our hopes on this new hospital solving all the problems. But in the meantime, healthcare access has gotten worse over these last years for the community, and I think we need to be focusing on the frontline staff that are there today and improving services immediately. We can't get used to this status quo of worse healthcare, and we deserve better here.
Evan?
I guess the first time I ever heard about this hospital being built was 20 years ago. And that's all well and good, but we need to start building. We need to stop talking and start building. And another thing of it is, you want to staff it, offer nurses and nurse practitioners and LPN, offer them full-time jobs. They don't want to be working at 20%. They want to work at full-time jobs so that they can raise families, so that they can buy a house, so they can buy a car. You can't do those things if you're working at 20 and 30 and 40%. Offer people full-time jobs. That's why the nurses are leaving. Thank you.
Our next question is for Eddie, and the topic is education. And just before I ask it, I did just want to acknowledge that lots of us are over a certain age in the audience this evening, but there are some students here from Georgetown Elementary School. And I always think it's so exciting to see young people participate in the democratic process. And so welcome to them. So Eddie, in the aftermath of the Matthew Craswell case, what will you do to rebuild trust in the public education system?
Well, I'm really proud that another MLA, another Green MLA, Carla Bernard, has already brought forward legislation on this to increase accountability, reporting, and transparency. It's been a heartbreaking year for our students, and they deserve much better. I think Greens have a good track record of being advocates for our education system, and Carla, with her experience in education, it shows, and she was quick to bring forward that policy, and I'm glad that it was accepted and we're moving forward with it. I think we need to, as we've been working towards, expand background checks and make sure that this doesn't happen again. I'm tired of reading about our kids getting hurt, and it's not just with the Craswell case, it's with bullying and all sorts of other toxic elements in our schools. Before I get too far on that, I would also like to welcome the youngest of us who are here today listening. I got a chance to meet a few students at Georgetown Elementary this week and go to them as a member of the community who's trying to stand up and bring more voice and talk to them a bit about politics and this campaign. I certainly hope everyone gets a chance to speak to the students this time around. I think it's really important to get out to the doors, but we can't forget our place in community during a campaign. We have to take the time to speak with students and listen to them as well. Just because they're young, just because they can't vote yet, doesn't mean they don't have a voice, doesn't mean they don't have useful insight and experience that can help leaders like us make decisions. So, again, I'd like to thank them all for being here, and I just let them know that you're being heard. We're looking to listen to you and get leadership from all aspects of our community.
Robert?
Thank you, Haley. And I too would like to welcome the students at the back of the room. It's always nice to see our PEI future leaders sitting in the room and taking in what it means, what the democratic process means today. So good to have you in the room. I think when we look at what has occurred in our school system over the past number of months, it is very concerning. That's concerning for parents, but it's also concerning for grandparents, and I hear that at the door a lot. Expect, when our children go to school, it's the safest place that they can spend all those hours of their day. And it goes without saying that we expect that will be taken care of. I do have to say and applaud the minister, and I think he's in the room, for taking his ministerial directive in this case of what happened earlier. But I do make a plea to him, and I did it in the media, to see to fast track what the plan is here. Our criminal checks and our other checks of our staff and our teachers need to be done. They need to be done on a regular basis, and probably more frequent than the directive had suggested at the start. But I think that will become more known as time goes on, and the ability to do it will be easier. Those are the only ways that we will pick up on any people who are coming into our school system that do not have the interest of our students, the best interest of them at mind first. So I continue to watch that with a careful eye, as all families on PEI are more watchful of that and more questioning of our students as they come home for school. And I think it's a community involvement here on very item that people we never would have thought in our school system we'd be dealing with that, and here we are. So again, I applaud the minister, but I do ask him and I do plead with him to see if we can get things done quicker and faster for next September.
I'm the same. I believe children should have an absolute right to be able to go to school and feel safe. It's an important thing, because how can you learn? How are you learning if you're worried about you're going to make it through the day? There needs to be more, like Robert says here, there needs to be more criminal background checks so that parents and grandparents, like somebody else, Eddie had mentioned, these people can have comfort knowing that their students, their children and their grandchildren are going to a school where they can be safe. And another important issue about schools is the fact of keeping the schools. Because if you want to destroy a community, destroy the schools. It's very important that to keep schools within the, and I can tell you, I'll be fighting for that for sure. Thank you so very much.
Brendan?
So every student in every school and every classroom across this province deserves to feel safe when they go to school, full stop. I think there is a lot of work that has been done to make that happen, and I will commend Mr. Croucher and the work him and his staff and team has done to try to ensure that. I'm raising a family in the area, and it would just break my heart to see anything happen to my child or any of his friends. So it really isn't. It's quite a shame that it is happening in our small little communities, but we really do need to build the communities around some of these students and ensure that in the event that something like this does happen, that the students and the families have the supports required to help them through the situation as well. we can't see that happen. So I do believe that every student deserves to feel safe in their own community.
Thank you. Our next question is for Kevin. Here we are in this beautiful theater, Center of Arts and Culture, and Arts and Culture, of course, runs through District 2. And so what can the government do to better support the sustainability of arts and culture in this district?
Well, like everything else, arts and culture is not just this building. It's also small little shops that make ornaments, or they make Christmas decorations. Or we all know the smaller shops. That's small and medium-sized enterprise, isn't it? And that needs to be protected and guaranteed, so that if they have a shortfall, they have an avenue to be able to get money. Now, a place as big as this, you need community support in order to keep it going, don't you? And I think it's a government's responsibility to be able to, excuse the language, but pony up, right? If we want to keep places like this alive, the government has to be a partner in keeping it alive, right? So I think that that's the important thing, is both the community and government to be able to come together, keep places like this alive, and to keep small little artisan shops alive. I think that it's important. I think that people make their living on it. I think that that's the way to support. Back to basic income guarantee. Thank you very much.
Robert?
And definitely our arts and culture in Prince Edward Island, all across the island, is so important to us and to our identity, and to identity of many of our families who are, in fact, are people that rely on this for their sole livings. This very building here, when you say Georgetown, your mind automatically comes to this building, the wonderful performances that have happened on this stage. And I know I've sat in the audience here many times to watch amazing performances from local talent, and they put their hearts and souls in it, and they indeed need to be praised and supported. And I think that's important, that government continues to do that in various ways. And I think developing programs, especially in areas that tourism is so important, and tourism also is driven by arts and culture, and those people that perform the arts here, or, as Kevin said, other artists that open up shops and things of that nature, especially down here, especially in this region, especially in this town of Georgetown. It becomes so vitally important to the economic ability of this area, but also to provide that feeling of wonderment when you come here and sit in the audience to any of the performers that are here. And I know you're a big part of that, so congratulations on your work there too. Thank you very much.
Brendan?
Facilities like the one we're sitting in right now are really kind of the heartblood of every rural community across the province, across this district and across the province. These are facilities that communities can really band behind, and it's where we gather together. I think of the community I grew up in, Albury Plains. We all gathered together at St. Joachim's Parish Hall for roast beef dinners and benefit concerts and markets for to really bring our community together. And I really do plan, if I am elected, to fight for funding for community theaters and community centers like this, because at the end of the day, they also they also work as, when it comes to natural disasters like we saw with Fiona. These are facilities that can work as home warming centers where people can come together and socialize and really feel safe as well. I look at, and at the end of the day, they are the lifeblood of every community. And we just have to go down the road to Lorne Valley, where the school is really the place where everyone comes together. There's benefit concerts, there's markets, they play cards there, and it's really something that the community is band behind to keep it open, and they work tooth and nail just to make sure that the lights stay on. That's still, oh, sorry, I thought I might have, they cut me off, but no, it's really something that's important to me, and it's something where I've grown up.
Eddie?
Thank you. And you know, the arts and culture is a sector that's very important to me. You know, I started off, I worked at a theater, a lot like this one, where I got to be involved with a lot of incredible community volunteers who really sort of impressed the value onto me of being a part of your community and having a role, working towards something that we all share. So it's something that's very sort of foundational in my mind. I've also had the opportunity to work in the island film industry through my life, and I know that arts is such a broad sector. It's very important to us as community members to have our Kayleys, to have our halls and our local artists, but there is a lot of opportunity elsewhere with the film industry and the talent that lives here on Prince Edward Island, as well all of the crafters that we have in our community who can be connected as you know, Canadians look to buy Canadian. There's all kinds of new markets for people in Alberta, in British Columbia, an opportunity for island artists of all different kinds to find that new business and, you know, continue developing the economy of the community.
Thank you. Our next question is for Robert Mitchell. The provincial government is reducing subsidies for heat pumps and solar panels and supports the purchase of used diesel turbines by Maritime Electric. District 2 is the center for clean technology development in this province. What will you do to ensure development of the clean tech park remains a provincial priority?
Well, thank you, Haley. And obviously, as part of my former life, being very involved in the electric utility, I have a knowledge of clean technology that's been out for a number of years, whether it's wind, whether it's solar. They've even come out now with some smaller type generators that run on different fuels. But primarily for Prince Edward Island today, and in discussions recently with Maritime Electric, I understand that rolling brownouts are something that could be very real this winter with the increase of pumps and electric vehicles on the electric grid and no ability to keep generation. So currently I, as leader of the Liberal Party, after going through with that process all summer, I have met with others, have indicated some new technologies that are out there. I would like to pursue those at Edward Island, but at the same time this winter I would like to make sure the power stays on in PEI. Those fossil fuel generators are a need.
Brendan?
Clean technology development is a generational opportunity for the entire province of Prince Edward. Prior to jumping into this circus called politics, I had the distinct pleasure as working as the clean technology officer, provincial lead for the government of Prince Edward Island. And my sole focus was to ensure that we built the policies and the platforms and the programming to really build and foster growth of clean technology on Prince Edward Island. I will promise you, and I will promise every person in this room and every representative or every constituent of District 2, clean technology and its development will be a cornerstone of what I bring to work every single day, because it is a generational opportunity for this province and the people within it. There is really well-paying jobs that can come from this. There is legacies that can be built for our entire province. And this is not the first time we've built an industry on Prince Edward Island like this. You know, we look at the Bio Alliance, we look at aerospace, and it's, you know, we are a leader in the country when it comes to clean technology development. And I am very proud to have worked in that world and seen the successes that are going to come from this. And I will let you know that we're about a stroke of a pen away from ensuring that this park is full, and that comes from, you know, my prior experience. There's a lot of opportunity worldwide to come to Prince Edward Island, explore their technologies, manufacture their technologies, and export their technologies from Prince Edward Island. People are seeking us out. We don't have to seek them out, and PEI is open for business.
Eddie?
Thank you. Well, you know, as far as it goes with heat pumps and solar panels, I think we need to keep up the work on those. Islanders are keen to keep investing in renewable technology, energy storage, and solutions that are going to make their homes and their communities more resilient. Now, as a Green, I'm skeptical. I am skeptical over these large diesel generators. That is something that's going to have a cost impact on Islanders from tip to tip. Everyone's going to be impacted by that. They're designed to operate, if I'm not mistaken, as 2% of the time or less. I think we can achieve multiple goals at once by pursuing other opportunities. As I say, if Islanders want to invest in solar panels for their home, if they want to invest in energy storage, we need the regulations that are going to allow all of those investments to be a public benefit as well.
Kevin?
Okay. I think the Prince Edward Islanders right now have a unique and unbelievable opportunity to pursue clean, renewable energy. Now, the diesel plant that they're talking about is literally, as far as I understand, I'm not coming in the numbers, but say 100 million. So if this thing is $100 million, imagine if you use that to buy clean, renewable energy.
It's okay. You can finish your thought, though, if you...
Okay. I just think that right now, thank you very much. I appreciate that. But thank you very, like, right now, if we put the amount of money that you're going to put into a diesel plant with millions of liters of oil that's right at the waterfront that could break, why don't we use renewable energy? Why don't we use that money for renewable energy for the future of our younger generation, for the future of our kids and our grandkids? Let's do this for our future. Let's do that for us. Thank you.
This question is for Brendan Curran. What will you do to build a greater sense of community to bring residents of the district together?
Well, I've said earlier this evening, our rural communities are, the cornerstone of our province as a whole, and have been since the beginning. We need to ensure that the people of each of our communities are listened to, they're heard, and their concerns are brought forward. And I really have heard on the doorsteps for the last number of weeks, and the hundreds of people I have spoke to, that they are looking for that strong local voice to do so. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's with the people that are in this area, and the people in this area are very proud of the communities for which they've come from. You look at the rink in Georgetown, you look at the ball fields in Cardigan, you look at the school, the Lorne Valley School. These are things that the communities rally behind, and government needs to support that to ensure that we have healthy, safe communities for people to live in.
Eddie?
Well, I want to be part of building a strong community by being out in the community. As I mentioned earlier, I was really proud to go and speak to the students at Georgetown Elementary this week, and I think that's a first step, right? It's being present and it's listening. As Brendan said, people are looking for a voice, but I wonder why we've had to search as long as we've had, or search as long as we have. Community building is getting out and listening. And I would follow Matt McFarland's lead on this. Matt has been out in his community multiple times, consulting, having town halls, getting out there and listening to folks. And as I've alluded to, he's even come all the way down east to listen to us down here. So if I'm lucky enough to be a representative in the legislature, I would continue my listening campaign indefinitely, continue coming out, holding town halls, not being afraid to stick my head out and listen to what folks are saying.
Kevin?
Thank you. I think that in order to keep communities together, first of all, you have to go and ask what they want. I'm going to do that. And another thing of it is places like the Pownal Rink. That there's a huge community mecca, if you will. So let's support the Pownal Rink. Up here at the Playhouse, let's support that. And another thing we can do is keep seniors at home, because seniors really are the family hub for their wheelhouse, right? You know, so let's do something to keep the families here, because as soon as the seniors leave, then sometimes people leave. And I think that if you do that, you talk to people, ask what they want, support places like the Playhouse here and the Pownal rink, and like my honorable member said, baseball fields and diamonds. That's where the community is. It's not at home. It's out in the ball fields, out in the rink. It's out in the Playhouse, but it's also at Grandma's house as well, isn't it? You know, we all like to stay at home. We all like to be able to support our community. I fully intend to do that. Thank you very much.
Robert?
I think what brings the community together is a common problem that needs a common solution. And how do you do that? We as politicians need to make ourselves available every day for discussion with the residents of all communities, and in this district, it needs to be viewed as one community. It's a large community, I'll tell you that, driving around it, but you know, being available, having Eddie mentioned town halls, and I've had a couple of town halls over the past few weeks, and they are well attended, and people want to bring attention to things that need some work done, and as politicians, we need to be listening. So town halls, availability, be around, and solve some problems with good solutions. That's what will bring a community together.
Thank you. And so that concludes the question portion of this event. We'll now invite candidates to give their uninterrupted 3 minutes of closing remarks, and we'll switch up the order, and we'll welcome Kevin Traynor.
Thank you, everybody. I wanted to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for my moderator and my fellow candidates. I guess what I'm going to say is, let's dream. Now, the last time the New Democrats had a member in the House, that was Herb Dixon. Dr. Herb was able to protect the hospital. He was also able to repeal, they were going to put a toll booth on the Hillsborough Bridge. A lot of people don't know that, but they were going to do that. Can you imagine the traffic? It would be brutal. And another thing he was able to do in his very small tenureship was to be able to bring kindergarten kids to the school system. And he worked extremely diligent to be able to do that. Now, my forte, if you will, has always been in the healthcare field. So I have solutions. If I can get to the legislature, and I'm asking, hopefully, to give the nurses full-time jobs. Try and keep the seniors at home. Let's see if we can protect our land and not have to worry about Doug and Jenkins and his wife. They have no water. And they're next door neighbors that has to be brought in. So let's work diligently in the legislature, because I was 25 years on the executive of my local, and the last thing that I'm going to do is sit on my hands and do nothing. I don't have the capacity to shut my mouth. I don't. If I see an issue, I'll guarantee you I'll fight for it. And I'm also accessible. My telephone number is easy to find. And if you're calling me, you're not calling my secretary or the secretary to the secretary and then find out that it's somebody else's problem. I intend to be your voice in the legislature, and you can call me. Because if I can do anything, I will, and trust me. I have the voice, the strength, and the capacity to do it, because I've been sticking up for people all my life. I've been sticking up for people that are marginalized, and I've been sticking up for people that just don't quite have enough to make it, don't know where to go. That's where I am. And I'm asking for your support to go into the legislature so that I can be your voice in the legislature. And I'll be a strong, committed voice. Thank you so very much, and I really appreciate everybody being here.
Thank you, Kevin. Now I'll welcome closing remarks by Eddie Childs.
Thank you. We know that our district and our province are facing many challenges, some of them perennial, it seems. And as we've heard here tonight, we all have different ideas of how to approach these. But myself and the neighbors that I talk to, we're looking to the future, not the past, to find the answers to the questions that we're faced with today. I think together we can face this head on. Together with your support, we can protect rural health care, and we can fight for better health today and not just promise a brighter future tomorrow. We can continue to protect our land and the good work that the Green Caucus has been doing, continue protecting our environment, our water, our critical resources, support local schools, and most importantly, work towards increasing transparency and accountability in government and with government spending. I have to say, because Kevin's been mentioning seniors all night, I think we need to look out for them too. Young people and families, they need support to be able to build their lives and continue living in these communities, in our communities. And with seniors as well, I will say, I agree with the calls for controls on rent increases for them in long-term care. This is something that we really need to get done. We can't have this existing outside of any regulation. We need to deliver cost security for the seniors in our community. But my commitment to the voters of District 2 is I'm going to work hard in the legislature for you. I'm going to continue listening after the campaign, into the next one, and then on from there. I want to be your honest representative in the legislature. As I say, working with our leader, Matt McFarlane, our other MLA, our former leader, Peter Bevan-Baker, and Carla Bernard. Join the great team that we have there in the legislature, the strong opposition that the Greens have been. I think it's safe to say they've been the strongest opposition probably in the history of our province, having achieved a great deal since they came to be the opposition party in 2019. I'm not going to choose insiders over islanders or corporations over communities. I will work for you, and I hope I can earn your support this time around. Change is in the air, and I think the Greens are the future we're looking for here in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. We'll hear from Brendan Curran.
I want to start by thanking Haley and the team from the Eastern Graphic for putting this event on. It's important that residents and everybody from District 2 can hear directly from the candidates, and we appreciate all the hard work spent together. As we wrap up tonight, I want to leave you with this. If on December 8th I am lucky enough to be elected as your next MLA, you will be my priority, always. I grew up here. My family is being raised here. This isn't just a district to me. It's my home. And because it's my home, I care deeply about the things that matter most to you: the rising cost of living, access to timely health care, and strong, safe communities where families can thrive. That's why I'm running in this election, to be your MLA with Georgetown-Pownal as my sole focus. This election isn't about a seat. It's about the people of District 2 having a strong local voice and delivering real results for you. Over the past weeks, I've had hundreds of conversations at doorsteps, kitchen tables, barns, and garages, and I've listened to your concerns, your hopes, your frustrations, and your aspirations for our communities. This is what I'm hearing. You want to be respected. We want to have a say in what happens in your communities, and you want a strong local voice. That's why I'm running to be a part of a PC team that has a track record of listening to rural communities. A team that has fought to keep our schools open, a team that has fought to maintain our identities as communities, a team who is willing to invest in rural communities to make them strong, vibrant communities where we can live, work, and raise a family. If you give me the privilege of serving as your MLA, that's exactly what I'll do. I will fight for better health care and for the KCMH to be constructed as soon as possible and to ensure that it's staffed appropriately to meet the needs of our entire community. I will work to keep our community strong and safe, and I will stand up for rural islanders who deserve the same opportunities as anyone else in this province. But for me, this job isn't about headlines. It's about hard work and following through. It's about showing up every day and doing the job you elected me to do. So on December 8th, I'm asking for your support, not just to represent you, but to fight for you and deliver results for you. Together, we can make sure what's best for District 2 is job number 1. Let's build on our successes, chart our own future, and get things done for Georgetown-Pownal. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. And we'll now hear closing remarks from Robert Mitchell.
Well, folks, tonight you had the chance to hear from all four of us about our vision for the future of District 2 and why each of us believes that we're the best choice to make that vision a reality. From my time in this district and my time spent in government, I believe that I can be the strong advocate that the people of District 2 deserve in the legislature. From the conversations I've been having with people across the district, Islanders are struggling now more than ever with the rising cost of living and a government that can't seem to get its priorities straight. We need to get back to the basics and bring balance back to governing. You deserve to be represented by an MLA who isn't afraid to ask difficult questions of those in government, and I believe that I can be a strong voice that you deserve. We need to bring realistic, long-term solutions to the big issues facing Islanders today and stop relying on temporary Band-Aid fixes that only pass the issues on to our children and grandchildren to deal with. While the Auditor General is raising alarms about our ballooning provincial debt and deficit, it seems that this government has no plans to rein in spending. I do not want to saddle my grandkids with that burden, and I do not want to saddle your grandkids with that burden. When it comes to health care, we need to focus on building a healthcare system that people want to work in, where they feel respected and valued, so that we can retain frontline healthcare workers here. We need to take advantage of the opportunities presented by UPEI's new medical school to increase access to our primary care providers right here at home. We need to infuse respect back into a system that is crumbling. And when it comes to our island school system, our children deserve to be able to attend school without fear that they will face abuse and bullying, and families need to know that their kids are safe from the minute they get on the bus, and they deserve to attend community schools close to home where they can feel supported and encouraged by staff and peers alike to reach their full potential. When it comes to questions around land ownership, Islanders deserve to trust in IRAC to make decisions that are fair, transparent, and free from political interference. With housing shortages, energy issues, and pressures on land ownerships being more complex than ever before, there's a real question whether government has put too much on IRAC's plate for it to be able to function effectively. We need to review IRAC's mandate and determine if the Commission needs to add additional resources, expand institutional capacity, or a redistribution of responsibilities to ensure it can focus doing its work effectively. I was taught that trust is earned and about the importance of following through in your word. I was taught to look out for our vulnerable members of our community to make sure that no one got left behind, and also the importance of rolling up your sleeves and working with your team to get things done. With my years of experience as Minister of Government, I already have the knowledge and the bureaucracy to hit the ground running. Thank you to all four of the candidates. Thank you to Haley, and thank you to the Graphic for sponsoring this event tonight. Thank you to each of you for coming.
Thank you. And with that, the Candidates Forum for District 2 is concluded. Thank you to our candidates for stepping up to serve your communities, and to you, our audience, for your time and attention this evening. A reminder that advance polling takes place at St. Joachim's Parish Hall in Vernon River on Saturday, November 29th, Monday, December 1st, and Friday, December 5th. And if you would rather wait until Election Day on Monday, December 8th, polls are at All Saints Church Hall, St. Joachim's Parish Hall, Pownal Sports Centre, and here at the Kings Playhouse. You can find all location details on the Elections Canada website. Let's support our democracy and exercise our right to vote. Thank you so much, and safe home.
Sure.